because we're not going to rest till we get justice. This is just the first step in us getting them back. So, what do we want? Obey! What do we want? Obey! What do we want? Obey! When do we want them back? Now! When do we want them back? Now! When do we want them back? Now! When do we want them back?
About 75 students and staff from Fenway High School in Boston rallied on behalf of their teacher today near Faneuil Hall. Math teacher Obain Atuamin was detained on May 20th, following his regular quarterly meeting with immigration and customs enforcement officials, and deported to his native Ivory Coast the following day. He was forced to give all his money to his lawyer and was not allowed to call his wife, an American citizen to whom he has been married for 18 months. At the rally today, standing underneath the statue of American patriot Samuel Adams, Boston Teachers Union President Richard Stockman praised Obain and his loyal students.
It is a terrific tribute to a terrific man and a terrific teacher that you're all out here. So let's hear it for Obain. This is a case of an injustice that can be cured very simply by people doing the right thing. And it is justice that I know everyone is seeking. I know Obain is a terrific teacher. I've come to know him through union activities. More than a terrific teacher, he's a terrific man, a terrific individual, a great role model. The Boston Teachers Union and its 9,000 members will do everything it can to get Obain back here. Thank you very much.
Prospects for Obain Atuamin's return to the United States are unclear. Accidentally misreading the date on an immigration court summons in 2004, he missed an asylum hearing. Due to changes in federal law made in 1996, the judge was forced to issue an order of deportation. But following months of activism by students, colleagues, and friends, and intervention by Massachusetts Senators John Kerry and Ted Kennedy, the order was delayed for 2 years. Since March 2007, Atuamin had been living in legal limbo, but he maintained his spirits at school by encouraging his students to achieve their best.
Mr. Obain is a key role model for our school, and we need him back. Government officials are always saying, no child left behind. But by taking away Mr. Obain, they are leaving us behind because we need Mr. Obain. And we need to let them know that we are not going to rest until Mr. Obain walks through Fenway's doors again.
Fenway High School junior Iris Hernandez. Spokesperson for the Boston Public Schools, Christopher Horan, says the department is very concerned for the teacher's well-being.
Certainly the Boston Public Schools are very concerned about this teacher, his well-being. First and foremost, we've been impressed with what we've heard about his support at the school among teachers and students, and are impressed with the work they've been doing to try to make sure that he first was able to stay in this country, and now that he may be able to come back.
He was a full-time teacher with a full-time contract. What sort of accommodations do you have to make now that he's effectively unable to teach? Do you have to look to hire someone to replace him?
Well, certainly that would be a decision made at the school level, and certainly the school would hire a substitute in the short term if necessary, and if need be, fill the position in the long term. But we certainly would prefer to have him back in the classroom.
Because the school term is ending, a decision about the teaching position won't need to be made until later this summer. For their part, federal officials have refused to comment on Atuamin's deportation, other than a short statement in May saying that they were merely following the orders of an impartial judge. Atuamin's lawyer has said she believes the government chose to arrest the teacher last month, a year after his stay of deportation ended, in retaliation for the congressional action that delayed the original order. Attempts to reach his lawyer, Susan Cohen, today were unsuccessful. But previously she has indicated that efforts are being made to convince the government to issue a visa allowing Obain to return to the U.S. Among his colleagues, students, and friends, reaction to the deportation ranged from sadness to shock to anger. Teacher Lisette Castillo heads up the Learning Center at Fenway High. What was your first initial thought when you heard that he had been deported?
I cried. None of us had an idea of what was going on. It was so certain, so unpredictable, so unexpected that we were devastated. we were speechless. We didn't know what to say, how to comfort each other, and a sense of hopelessness took over us that day.
Do you know if he talked about his visa status, his immigration status while in school?
With students, no. That was something that he kept very private. I don't think he wanted to include them or overwhelm them with the details. He did educate his students about some of the struggles that many immigrants face in Africa, considering the situation in his native country. He did not, however, discuss with the students details of his visa or resident alien status in the United States.
So for many students, especially newer students, he was just, that popular teacher who would help them with their classes. He really wasn't someone who could be kicked out of the country at any time.
Well, some of the students that graduated this past week did participate about 2 years ago on an original rally in order to begin his documentation process. This current class is very new, and some of them just got to know them as the cool, nice, always well-dressed teacher that welcomed them and they helped them whenever possible.
Today's rally for Obain Otuomen came at a time when many Bostonians, in fact many Americans, are distracted by the high cost of living, the war in Iraq, and of course the success of their sports teams. But Fenway High headmaster Peggy Kemp wanted everyone to know that despite his situation, Obain Otuomen was very grateful for the help his students have offered him.
He wants to thank you. He is safe. He wants everyone to know that he is safe, but he does not have his own place. He is living with strangers who are friends of a friend, relatives of a friend, but he does feel safe. He does not have a job. And he has no prospects of a job, although he's looking for a job. Obain was here for nearly 15 years. He was a teacher in Boston for more than 12 years. His career is here in Boston. He has no family in the Ivory Coast. He has been taken away from his family, his friends, his colleagues, his work, and deposited in the Ivory Coast when he tried very hard to contribute to this society by encouraging young men and women to live up to their potential. The one thing that I admired about him was always trying to get the best out of anyone, his colleagues or his students, or anyone he met. Obain was our friend, is our friend, and we will continue to stand up for him. What do we want? Obain! Who do we want? Obain! No justice?
For more information about efforts to bring Obain Otuomen back from the Ivory Coast, go to Fenway High School's website, www.fenwayhs.org, and click on the Obain Update link. Reporting for the Boston Community Reporters Project, this is Dave Goodman.